Just 5 days till Super Tuesday. Republicans getting set to face off on the debate stage in Houston tonight in what could be their last chance to derail Donald Trump's campaign. 13 states will vote or caucus on March 1st. Up for grabs, nearly 600 delegates. Last night, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz not wasting any time going after the GOP frontrunner at a town hall hosted by Megyn Kelly.
This is an important election. We are not going to allow the conservative movement to be defined by a nominee who isn't a conservative. And we certainly need to elect someone who's prepared to be president in a thoughtful and serious and important way, given the threats this country faces. So that's why a majority of Republican voters are not supporting Donald Trump.
In the head-to-head polls, Donald consistently loses to Hillary. I consistently beat Hillary. And so the question right now is, how do we prevent nominating a candidate who loses the general election? Or for that matter, if Donald wins the general election, who the heck knows what he'd do as president?
But it will be an uphill battle for these guys to take down Trump. Some of the recent polling showing them struggling versus the real estate mogul in their own home states. In Texas, polls seem to be all over the place, at least for now. One released yesterday showing Ted Cruz and Donald Trump in a dead heat. The other showing Cruz with a considerable lead over Trump, 38 to 23% in the Lone Star State. In Marco Rubio's home state of Florida, the Donald has a commanding lead in the latest Quinnipiac poll, 44 to 28. And in Ohio, where Governor John Kasich is very popular and won re-election in 2014 by a landslide, Trump leading the governor by 5 points in recent polling. All right, Geraldo, Ebony, we've got you both here today. Just put this in perspective, the debate tonight. Where are things going from here?
Well, I think, well, Ebony, excuse me.
Go for it. No, go for it, Geraldo. You got it. Deference. Yeah.
I think that these guys lose their home states, they go home. Cruz loses Texas. Come on, he's finished. Marco Rubio looks like he is going to lose Florida. He's never won anything. He can't even win in Florida. John Kasich, very popular, my wife from Cleveland. If he loses Ohio, they've got to go.
Ebony, you agree with that?
Well, I certainly think they're not going to be able to catch him, Sandra. Here's the thing. People just don't seem to understand how Donald Trump is resonating. This is not for many voters about conservatism or, for that matter, liberalism. This is about the person that can bring jobs back. People want people to show them the money. They want people that haven't been a part of the problem as it's been going on in Washington. And I think that's where Trump is consistently getting more and more voters, although they might not be traditional conservatives.
But it truly looks like they're scrambling to come up with a way to target their attacks on Donald Trump. I mean, look at Cruz. Cruz says, hey, in polls it shows I beat Hillary Clinton. It just doesn't seem to be effective, any of these attacks.
No, Sandra, you're absolutely right. I mean, you heard Marco Rubio attack Donald Trump for not being conservative enough. That doesn't work. People know that he's not as conservative as they would like him to be. It's already baked into it. So Ted Cruz is talking about the fact that he is maybe not winning or couldn't win in a general election, his electability. I think that is a better argument, but again, people see him as a fighter and someone who can win because he is consistently winning. So it's tough to get a glove on the guy. Cruz and Rubio, though, I will say this, they're the better debaters. They do a better job at these debates. Rubio did stumble before, but you see them doing a better job. I mean, Trump has gotten better. He has gotten much better.
Chokes the way he choked at that debate when there's some matter of national urgency. I mean,
he has to perform well tonight. There's no question.
6 times in a row, it's like what?
But he's a better. But he is a good debater when he's on point. So is Cruz. I think Cruz has trouble tonight, though. Big trouble because of these attacks that he's a liar and a hypocrite, and he puts himself out there as a Christian, yet he's doing these dirty attacks. He's in trouble.
Yeah, I think Cruz is really going to see some problems with the distractions that have been created along the way. Some of them have been some self-inflicted wounds from inside his own campaign.
Yeah.
He named a new communications director yesterday. That didn't get a lot of fanfare because people are still focused on those posters behind his head that say "Trust Ted." But, you know, with Marco Rubio, he doesn't have a lot of latitude for making mistakes. It's not that he has to do well tonight. He's got to be almost perfect because he's already admitted that he made a mistake. Well, how many times are you going to do that? You can only really get one mulligan, right? And you've got somebody across the lectern, and Donald Trump, who's just waiting for you to cut yourself on one side of the knife because it's falling. So when you try to catch it, he's just waiting for you to do that. Donald Trump is, everybody keeps saying, well, what's it going to take? He said this, he said that, he said this. Love him or hate him, he has a lot of wiggle room for making errors.
You're exactly right, Harris. And Donald Trump has credibility around something that no other person in this race has, and that is the success of his own life. And I think the only other person that really could talk to that was Ben Carson, and he kind of hung himself out to dry. And America likes that. America likes an aspirational candidate, someone that had credibility around that.
Democrats fear Donald Trump more now, do you think, Ebony, now that he's a little bit broader?
Absolutely, Harris. They did not take him seriously, and my friends that are knee-deep into the Democratic politics, they're very afraid of him because guess what? Moderates and independents, just like all other demographics, want to win. They want to win big in life. They want to win in the bank. They want their jobs back from China. And look, whether he can do it or can't, we can litigate. But he's selling that message.
And speaking of very quickly, is the temperament an issue?
Donald's temperament? You make an instinctive judgment, as I think you have, Andrea, of Donald Trump. You measure the man just on your vibe. There's so many things I disagree. I think some of his policies are hideous, like on immigration, deportation, and so forth. And yet there is a definite charisma, a verve, and a magnetic attraction about the guy. People instinctively say, I want to be in business with that guy. And I think that he is unbeatable, unstoppable, and it's going to be up to Hillary Clinton unless
and now the big question is, what about those within his own party that haven't supported him? If he continues with this momentum, what happens? We've been watching after months now on the campaign trail, Donald Trump finally getting some support from the Republican establishment. Congressman Duncan Hunter and Chris Collins both saying they're backing the billionaire businessman for the nomination. But former GOP presidential nominee Mitt Romney isn't sold and says Trump should release his tax returns.
Frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes. I think there's something there. Either he's not anywhere near as wealthy as he says he is, or he hasn't been paying the kind of taxes we would expect him to pay, or perhaps he hasn't been giving money to the vets or to the disabled like he's been telling us he's been doing.
Trump tweeting in response to that, Mitt Romney, who was one of the dumbest and worst candidates in the history of Republican politics, is now pushing me on tax returns. Dope. Ebony, he says.
You know what, Sandra? This is the kind of thing that Donald Trump lives for, right? I mean, an endorsement from Governor Romney, Trump needs it like he needs a hole in his head. Because this comes back to this loser-winner narrative. It's so simple, but if it's not broke, don't fix it.
It's probably only helping Trump.
Exactly. He's smiling. He's like, oh, this is great. You're the loser, and guess what? I'm the winner.
But what's the strategy here, Andrea? Everybody's scratching their heads when Mitt Romney said this, and if he has endorsed Marco Rubio. But where is he going with this bombshell in his taxes? I mean, what are we talking about here? That he makes less than he says he does? Or?
Mitt Romney is doing exactly what Harry Reid did to him in this last election. I can't believe that Mitt Romney would go there. His campaign made such a stink about the dirty tricks and the lies that Harry Reid told. Remember, my friend told me that Mitt Romney didn't pay taxes. So now Mitt Romney comes out and does the same thing, but also wants to spark a debate about who's richer than whom? Are you kidding me? No one cares what Mitt Romney thinks, number one. Number two, he was a loser. He wasn't a conservative. That's why so many people go, you put up a loser who wasn't a real conservative last time. It's just a friendly reminder, and Ebony's right. It only hurts Trump.
One word on his wealth. Forbes said $4 billion.
Okay.
I had a long conversation with Eric, his son. Great kids. I love his kids. And Eric told me that $4 billion was really unfair to Trump because they lowballed every one of his real estate holdings, and that the Trumps, figure it's closer to $10 billion. He's going to have to fund $1 billion. He's going to have cash to pay for it this campaign.
Yeah, but you're going to have to tell me that his supporters would waver in the face of him being worth less.
Well, yeah, I mean, $4 billion, $9 billion to most of us. That's like make-believe.
Before we finish up, though, we just talked about these big endorsements coming on board for Trump. Is the establishment getting behind Trump now?
I mean, you've just seen just a couple of names. The establishment is getting behind Marco Rubio, and you saw Marco Rubio yesterday attack Trump on Israel and feeling like he can go right after him now because he's got more people behind him. But when they stand on that stage, I'll say it again, for the debate, It's mano a mano. It doesn't matter who's endorsed you or any of that. Can you do it under pressure with the mic on? Can you drop the mic? And so that's what we'll be watching for tonight. But he did go after Trump one-on-one. We've seen some people fall out of this campaign after going on with Donald Trump. But he knows he has to do it, Marco Rubio.
Harris loves to drop the mic. We'll leave it there.